Money here with Mike Marriage and Media, and let's get it going. So, in all seriousness, today we're looking at the channel is called Mosaic, and this is the host is actually the woman. Her name is TJ, and she has her husband with her here. Now, usually she doesn't have. I don't see her husband on her channel that much. That's why when I stumbled across this clip, I was like, oh, married couple on YouTube, let's check it out. Why? Because again, we need to see more married couples on YouTube. We need to start normalizing this more, that there are working relationships out here and it's not all doom and gloom. Because remember, nuclear family is the key to building a community. A lot of the problems in our community can be resolved if we start to produce more nuclear families. So we're not going to keep, I'm not going to keep babbling on here, right? We need to go ahead and see what they got here. The guest that they have on there is Jedi Mike. Now Jedi Mike is, I would call him, I would designate him as a young guy, meaning that he's probably in his early 20s, literally probably about half my age. So this is one of the things that I think is the key to having successful relationships is that you have older people in the community who you can go to for advice, because obviously that's probably what we're going to see here. So we'll figure out what they're talking about and let's get it going.
We always keep saying that, there's always wolf in sheep's clothing, and there's a lot of these content creators, like the profit off of it just for, knowing the things they're saying. They're not doing that in their own household.
Oh boy, I could do a whole episode on that, especially when it comes to money. Again, be careful of people who tell you to borrow a bunch of money in order to make a whole lot of money. That's, man, can't get started on that. Net worth's important, but relationship advice too. I mean, there's a lot of bad stuff, especially when you start talking about these YouTube talking points. A lot of this stuff is the relationship killer because it only applies to very specific scenarios, but a lot of these YouTube channels will have you believe that no, it applies to everything. Case in point, that's why I don't talk about high value men. The majority of the things that go with high value men don't apply to the general population. So how is that going to be helping people?
And I made sure, with my woman, that especially when we're seeing this YouTube spaces, that we try to keep enforcing boundaries of terms listen, some of this is hypocrisy. You have to identify, and that's what you have to increase, not letting these ideologies kind of cloud your judgment. And because when talk about submission, I've never asked my woman for submission. I put in the comments that I told her that you submit the Christ within me, and I'm not submitting my full authority to Christ and I have nothing to stand on, i.e. the foundation, right? Because the thing about building a home, the house that's built on sand, it will never stand, right? And what happened is that when we have these type of ideologies for the sake of ego, sake of putting a facade up there, just for the sake of people thinking, look, he's alpha, he's he look at him, oh my God, right? But then
I'm so sick of this alpha beta stuff. Man, look, I'm gonna settle this once and for all. I don't subscribe to that. Main reason is because unlike all these channels out here that tell you to be the alpha male, look, the reality is you can't be alpha all the time. That's impossible. Why? Because everyone is looking for there's always going to be somebody better than you out there. So let's talk about it, because most of these channels out here that subscribe to this whole alpha male thing, they will agree that you need some kind of mentor in your life. Okay, well, if that's the case, then when you're around your mentor, because usually a mentor will have in a mentee relationship, usually the person who's the mentor will be mentoring more than one person, right? So if you're with your mentor and he has somebody else that he's giving knowledge to, well, now it's two of y'all that are giving knowledge by this one person, right? Okay, so who's the alpha in that situation? But I'm alpha all the time. How? That literally makes no sense. How could you be alpha and be the student? The reality is that if you want to call yourself an alpha male, then do it for this reason. You're the alpha in your home, and your wife is there to assist you. To me, that's the only way it makes sense. But even then, if that's just the case, why do we need to use the terms alpha and beta? Let's just call it husband and wife. Yeah. To me, it's
What's
dumb.
happening is that the house is because the foundation is sand, it's going to crumble eventually, right? When the storm comes through, and that's why most marriages and relationships don't last long. Because with like the fairy tale of saying that we don't endure through storms and hardships and stuff, doesn't make it easy. Like everybody want weddings, we don't want marriages, right? But even
Hmm.
then, our marriage should be a ministry, metaphor, and and the reason why I said my woman, why I chose her because she's a walking ministry. Every time like how much she advocates for the Lord and Holy Spirit and everything like that, and then again, what her influence adds on me in terms of in moments where, as a man, we just might deal with this life in terms of what the worldly, wisdom we might get from people. But I also believe that, such wisdom can be earthly, unspiritual, or demonic, right? So you have to understand that there's people that might want to say and give you type of advice or counsel, but obviously if the foundation is not Christ, in my personal opinion, is not going to stand for me.
Let me look real quick. This young man just turned 24.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This young man just turned 24. And he is so insightful. Is it the young lady that I met the other night?
Listen, I can't
Okay, never
plead
mind.
the fifth.
Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Right.
fifth. But
Um,
whatever, I like I said, keep it offline, keep your auntie, But like I said, you have a really good point. Seek marital counseling,
yeah.
premarital counseling,
Yeah,
because
it's
like
good
I said, we
advice.
were in our 50s. This is my second marriage. And I didn't do premarital counseling first. But I still remember what our counselor said to me what a man needs. I remember it in the order: respect, loyalty, intimacy.
Let's see. Right.
Have I forgotten
100%. And she's gonna ask her husband to confirm it too. I like that.
any of that, babe?
Say it again.
Have I forgotten any of that?
No, ma'am.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would,
Um,
and I wouldn't
Wait,
say
wait a
this.
minute. Go ahead, babe. Go
No,
ahead.
sorry. Sorry. You got to say, Mr. Randolph?
no, go ahead. Go ahead. I was just going to say that loyalty, uh, I think for men is at the top. Uh, you know, it's A1 at the top of the list. But go ahead, man.
Mhm. Yeah. I will say, Auntie, I'll just say that your discernment and everything like that is not broken. I'll just say that in terms of your last question. I'm like, yeah.
Got you.
But
Got you.
in terms that I am like engagement is literally right around the corner. Right now I'm about to graduate in like in a month and a half and stuff, and I just actually got a full time position job now, and I'm starting before I graduate, and like out of college though, like well same terms of what I'm making,
That's
and that's
what's up,
nothing but
man.
God. Because beginning before a relationship, I had nothing.
Okay, this young brother's getting his life together, man. I got a lot of respect for that. Said he's graduating college, he just landed the job, and he's right around the corner from proposing. It's probably why he don't want to talk about who this lady is. I can respect that. Man, we need more brothers like him who's starting to get their life together. We need to highlight that because again, the stereotype is that, especially his generation, they're all just lazy, and that's not the case. It's not the case. Now, I will say that the people in his generation tend to be either at one extreme or the other. Either they're going to be, they're very ambitious and they want to get their life together, and you can see them working on it constantly, or they just living in the basement smoking weed all day. So I think we need to highlight the first one more. We need more gentlemen like him who are getting a young man getting himself together, who's actively trying to pursue marriage, trying to build a family.
I had nothing. I was like in between jobs. He was making more money than me and all this stuff, which there's another disposal about myth and stuff. Again, just like in 2 or 3 months' time, because again, I just know what I want for myself and our relationship and stuff like that. It just, again, God just,
Yeah, he makes an excellent point. Is that if you listen to all these YouTube talking points, particularly the gender war, they'll tell you that you can't, that there's no way that you should ever let your woman make more money than you. It won't work. You can't do it. And I call BS. Because again, well, what do you mean by that? Well, that's not true. All women are hypergamous. Yeah, they are, But hypergamy is not just about money. Women tend to date up. Money is not the only measuring stick. Is it important? Absolutely. But it's not the only thing, and it can be overcome. What are you talking about? Because nah, I got to go out and make $1 million a year. They only want the top 10% of earners. That's when you got a camera in their face. But the majority of women who are telling you, who are saying that stuff on there, they don't know those guys and they ain't never met them before. So what? They don't just they're all celibate? I don't think so. Come on, that's just ridiculous. So what we have here is that when you get into reality, when you meet these women in real life, chances are most women are willing to work with a man as long as he has a plan of what he wants to do with his life. Now, does that mean that you got to have a plan so you can go make $100,000 a year? No, it doesn't. Yeah, and women will never admit to that on camera, but it doesn't, because again, most guys don't do that. Most guys don't have the skill set, and let alone a platform to go and make that kind of money. So I told you before we talked about average income per state. Do yourself a favor, go look up the average income in your state. I think you're going to be surprised about what it is. Most people out here are average. So how do you win as an average guy? Well, besides your money, there are other things you can do, like building your character. How is it that we never talk about that? We need to start having some conversations about that, seriously, because that is the biggest way that you can overcome I'm just an average income earner. What can I do? Because we're not swallowing the black pill over here. We're not just giving up. Just because I'm not rich doesn't mean anything. Go be rich with character. Go build that. It's a lot of other stuff too. But character is the one thing that will. That character is the one thing that's universal with the vast majority of women. They want to do it with character. Men of character rarely cheat. Don't have a reason to. All right. But look, let's keep going because I don't want to get off topic here. But this is great conversation though, for sure.
Was able to bless me in terms of this job I'm going to have starting out of college. Again, now we're planning on having combined incomes and everything once we're married. But again, I just believe in terms of obedience and everything. That just, again, that leads to a lot of blessings that we know we already have given, that we know it's going to be given to us. For example, everyone's saying, I'm just praying.
You know what? Let's go back because whoever, I think it was a chat that was posted. Yeah, let's be honest. Everyone stops at sex. No one speaks of Christianity and children. Nobody speaks of children, especially on YouTube. And see, this is the thing I don't understand. Because if you don't want to get married, okay, that's your choice. Don't do that, right? But also stop trying to hang out with all the good women. Because if there are good women out there, most likely they want to be married. If you know that's not you, then stay away from them. Save them for the guys who actually want to get married, who actually want to try their hand at marriage. But the children aspect is important because I find it interesting that we as men will sit here and complain about all these women, their 304s and all their negative aspects, right? Most of these things happen traumatically because break down in nuclear families. So, don't talk to me about you don't want to get married because there ain't no good wives out here. You want to know why there's no good wives? It's because they know men to train because there are not enough men out here who are willing to get married to show work as a model for the children in the home. It's chicken and egg. At some point, men and women are going to have to bite the bullet to make it better for the next generation. Work out what you can, get the best option, and then you two go and build a life, build a family, so that we can start building communities. Because we just keep going back and forth around in circles. Look, guys. Well, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and finish up here.
Given that we know it's going to be given to us. For example, everyone's saying, I'm just praying for my man, I'm praying for my woman, all this stuff, right? Okay, the prayer's been answered. It's I think people are not saying make a mistake of constantly praying for the same thing. God knows your hearts and desires. But the thing is, He also knows when you're not prepared to or equipped to handle it. So again, sometimes He might test you, might give it to you prematurely, and say, listen, now you know
that was good.
What you asked for.
That was good.
Now are you, in terms of the man or the woman, that actually now able to cultivate the blessing that I had in store for you? or now you gotta wait a little bit longer and be disciplined and follow my word. You know, again, it's just like I keep saying like these violent delights can have violent ends. You know, like
Well, let me go ahead and offer you this too.
mhm.
And it's good. And here's where the loyalty comes in, baby. Correct me if I'm wrong. You talked about, when y'all got together, and again, a couple of things. You were doing the right thing by protecting her. Because even though I'm in these YouTube streets, Mr. Randolph is very adamant about protecting me. If he sees stuff getting too, because he knows me, he knows I care. If he sees me getting too stressed or whatever, he asks me. He said, "Now this is still a hobby, right?" Or he'll ask me. He says, he'll grow me. Like basically, okay, if I have to step in, it's a shutter downer. So but that's protecting me even from myself.
As he should. Yeah, as he should. Great
But let's
representation.
go back to the loyalty thing. Yes, you said when you all start dating, she was making more than you and blah, blah, blah. But the loyalty is, say, for instance, because there may be a time when you all are together and say, for instance, something happens unexpectedly, your company shuts down, we go through another pandemic, it may obliterate your job, but she still has hers. The loyalty comes in when she's like, babe, we're going to work through this together. I got it until you get another thing. That's where the loyalty comes to continue to lift you up, to continue to support you.
Facts. Now, here's the thing, because a lot of YouTube relationship channels talk about that, and the most, believe it or not, the best example of that actually comes from Fresh and Fit. I know, right? But like I said, it's like your salad bar. Take what you want, leave the rest. Myron Gaines talked about this. He's like, yeah, you gotta, you're on the shot. When your woman starts making more than you, the shot clock is on. But the part that he missed was that it's on for you to start creating more value. You're going to have to replace the value that you brought in with your income, with your security. Now, getting another job is the easiest thing to do, right? The hardest thing to do in reality is replace that value with something else, because you got to have money as a tool, and you definitely need it. So, but I mean, you may come across a situation where you're with a woman who, let's say that, you were making, let's say she was making 30 and you were making, 39, right? And you lost your job and you're out looking for something else, and you stumble across something, you get the same job as a different company, but they're going to pay you less. Now you're making as much as she is. You got that now, and then let's say 3 months later, she gets a promotion to where she's making 50. Okay, so now you have to take up the role. You got to figure out how you're going to add to your value, because she just increased hers from a relationship, from in the confines of the relationship. You also are going to have to step up in other ways. And most likely it's my suggestion would be, and I know this goes against like what all these YouTube channels are telling you, all this relationship advice, you have to step it up inside the home. She just got promoted to management, probably means she's gonna be working more hours. If y'all got kids, it's your duty to step up, and you're gonna be watching the kids a lot more. You're gonna be cooking more meals. You're gonna be taking them to school and or picking them up from daycare or whatever. Because the reality is that there has to be some balance. I mean, yeah, you can go get another job, but it's only so many resources out here. At a certain point, it's like that. Like you have to start taking care of other stuff too, because you can do the typical man answer is, okay, well, I'm just about to grind it out and I'm gonna go get something. Meanwhile, your home falls apart because nobody's taking care of home. One of you has to be the breadwinner. I don't care if it's male or female at this point. Why? Because our marriage rates are too low. We have the lowest marriage rates in the country, and you need nuclear families to propagate a community. So we can't be picky. We got to figure out how to make it work however we can. But look, I'm gonna leave this one here. Mosaic, Jedi Mike, this was a high level conversation for sure. We need more couples like Mr. and Mrs. Randolph, because, look, again, more representation of married people. But guys, go check out the channel. Remember, like and subscribe here. And I'm gonna say goes to the next time. Peace. Thanks for making it to the end of this video. But do me another favor, like and subscribe, but also check out these here. Either subscribe or watch videos, one or the other. I don't know which side, but hey, all right.